أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome everyone to our last official lesson for level 1B. Alhamdulillah. So after today, even though it's our last lesson, we will still have our review session next week. So just for people to keep in mind in terms of dates is that, oh, excuse me. Let's see. So next week, which is going to be, just make sure we have the right date, the 25th of May. So we have, change the color. I think May 25th is going to be our review session. And then after that, on June 1st is the deadline for the final exam. And then I believe June, let me just double check, because I believe our semester either starts on, let's see, Bismillah. Okay, so June 8th is our final exam deadline. And then the 15th actually, I think, is going to be a break. And so we have but we start classes. 1C begins. Oh, excuse me. 1C begins on June 22nd. So just kind of have to invert this. So June 22nd is 1C. Yes, let's see. Exam deadline. Yeah, the exam deadline is the 8th. I think the 15th might be an orientation for, it could potentially be an orientation. So 1C begins. But the 15th might be an orientation, but I have to double check that with administration to see if that's what's going on.
Is the exam deadline the 1st or the 8th?
It's the first, so it's usually the week after the review session. The 8th is technically a break, but if people feel like they need an extra week, like I absolutely need another week to just make sure I'm comfortable with this, you can just send me an email about an extension and you'll have an automated extension until the 8th. Okay. You might not need an orientation for 1C, but I have to double check with administration if that's the case or not. Um, and it's also because it's highlighted a little differently in the calendar. But your official first class for that you'll have your quizzes and you'll have to prep for will be on June 22nd. You will have maybe an orientation on the 15th. The 8th is technically a break, but like I said, if people are just like, I needed some more time, can I get an extension? Send me an email, and usually you'll get an extension. In most cases, I already have some people reaching out to me, depending on, what's going on with them at that time. I know some people are going on Hajj, may Allah accept, and so on. So this is just how this is looking. So next week, again, we have our review session. We're going to talk about the exam a little bit more. We're going to, make sure we're ready for the exam and prepared for that. And then we'll talk more about that next week. Of course, I'll pause there on the exam. And then you just have to take the exam and then slowly get started for 1C. Do we have any other questions on just dates? Yeah, I mean, yeah, midnight is fine, Khalil. It's not like if you submit it at like 1 a.m., that's fine. But yeah, I would try to, try not to see it as like a deadline that's like kind of coming over at you like, oh, I have to make sure I make it. But hopefully you can kind of take the exam on like a leisurely time on Sunday morning or something like that. Um, awesome. Any other questions? Those are good questions. There's some technical things about when you take the exam, how to do it, but we'll talk about all that next week as well. Okay, great. Alhamdulillah. Okay, so let's go ahead. What I'd kind of like to do, which is something I've been thinking about since I sent you all the poll, but I haven't had the chance to really write it out for you yet. My plan is to send you guys like a small, um, you know, uh, one pager on how to approach dealing with sentences. It's kind of like the map you guys got at the end of 1A, but it's kind of just like based off of you're going to be taking steps and there'll be like alternative things you can think about. And so I haven't done that yet, but what I'd like us to do is I just want to give us a brief breakdown um, of how I'd like us to approach um, let's see, awesome. Uh, how I'd like us to approach our sentences, because I think though the thing that most people wanted from the poll is what to do when they're trying to put everything together. And so I just wanted to put a little bit of information here for us so that at least we have some basic steps on how to approach that. So to get started, the first thing we always want to think about when we have a sentence in front of us is we want to ask ourselves, so I'm just going to number these for us and I'll just type them out. Um, but so for number one, is this big enough? Let's see. Can make it bigger. Okay, I just want to make sure everyone can see this. So the first thing we want to ask ourselves is, what does my sentence start with? Right? What does the, or you can say my sentence, start with? Oh, I think I can even bullet on this. Okay, I haven't used Zoom whiteboard in a while. So maybe what we'll do is we'll just share, not on Zoom, but on Microsoft. Let's go back to our screen. Let's go back here. Okay. Right. Okay. So we'll just start here because it's a lot easier to work with. All right, Bismillah. Okay, so the first question we're going to have is, what does my sentence start with?
I'm sorry, Ustadha.
Hmm?
Are you sharing your screen? I cannot see it.
Do you
Or
guys just see the let's see. Can you see my screen now?
yes.
Okay, great. So that's the first question. You're asking, what does my sentence start with? And you have two options, right? Well, you technically have three options. Okay, your first one is you have an ism, and I'm just going to transliterate for now, just because jumping between Arabic and English will take a while. But inshallah, on the final version of this that I send out to everyone, I'll put in the Arabic where we want it, at least the actually typed out Arabic. It either starts with an ism, and if that's the case, we have a jumla ismiya, right? Or it starts with a fa'il. In that case, we have a jumla uh فعلية. Okay. And or it could start with a harf. Okay, this we might have seen by now. Is that it could begin with a harf. And if that's the case, then you're gonna skip the harf, okay, and look at the next word. And you go back to step A or B, right? So then you go back to A or B, right? Um, okay, so those are the three options. Once we do that, once we have that, we're gonna ask, what are my pillars? What are my pillars, right? So we have to ask, what are the pillars of my sentence, depending on what I have. So if I have a jumla ismiya, right? If it's ismiya, then I have a mubtada, and a khabar, and I have to find those, right? Okay, if it's a fa'liya, I have a fa'il, fa'lun, and a fa'il, right? And so that's the doer and my actual verb. So this is the main, these are the main parts, right? So those are the main parts of my sentence. Now I'm looking at secondary things, okay? Sometimes, well, we'll just look to the فعلية. Sometimes a مفعول به, not always. You don't need a مفعول به, but sometimes you'll see one with a جملة فعلية, and so you have to be able to identify it, right? Okay. Are there any other notes here? Yes, the mubtada is always an ism. So for the jumla ismiya, the mubtada is always an ism. But remember, that ism can have a sifa, right? So I can have a mubtada that also is being described. It can have a sifa. It can also be an idafa. Okay, so my mubtada can do that. My khabar, okay, has also possibilities. Okay, one, the khabar can be an ism. Okay, can be an ism. It can also can be a jar or majrur construct, so a prepositional phrase. Okay. It can also be another sentence, can also be another sentence, like a not another jumla ismiya, a nominal sentence, or it can be another verbal sentence. Okay, these are possibilities for the khabar. This is why it's all listed under here. Let's see, maybe we want to make this a little smaller. Let's go back to home. Okay, that's probably a little bit better. Okay, there we go. All right, so we ask, what does my sentence start with? What are the pillars? And we have my possibilities, right? It's mia, it's a mubtada or a khabar. The mubtada is always an ism, can be have a sifa, can be an idafa. Okay, if the khabar is an ism, it can also have a sifa, right? It can also have a sifa. It can also be an idafa, right? Okay, so when I have a prepositional phrase, right, we know what that is going to look like. And then if I have another sentence, then I have again, go back to step one. I'm going to need to have, if it's a nominal sentence, a mubtada and a khabar. And if it's a verbal sentence, a fi'al and a fa'il, right? Okay. So then the fi'al or fa'il sometimes will have a maf'ul bihi, right? Now we want to add that my fa'il, what about it? Let's just talk about it briefly. It can have a sifa. It can also, or be an idafa. Okay? Yes, Bilal.
Um, I just had a quick question.
Yeah.
Whenever you mention having a sifa, do you mean the entire phrase or
No,
just
like
one part?
the word that is my mubtada is has a sifa. So it has like I'll give you an example. Um let's go to Arabic for a second. If I want to write a jumla ismiya, like I say الرجل, we'll just keep it simple for now. Okay. Let's see. الرجل الكبير yeah. الكبير, right? It's gonna have a dhamma. طويل. Okay, this is super simple. The big man is tall. Okay, طويل. Okay, this is my sentence. So here my mubtada, right, is الرجل, right? Simple sentence. الكبير now is actually the sifa for my mubtada, right? And طويل is my khabar, right? But I can also change طويل. Like I don't have to say طويل. I can say الرجل الكبير يمشي. The man is walking, right? And now I have a jumla فعلية that is my khabar, right? A jumla فعلية. The large man or the big man, or you could say the old man, is walking. Or I could say الرجل الكبير في البيت. بيت. Right? في البيت. It's in the jar case, right? A prepositional phrase here. Or I could change it and I can say, ابن, we'll just take Khalid. ابن خالد في البيت. So now ابن خالد, my mubtada is ابن Khalid, excuse me, it should be Khalidin, not den. There we go. Khalid is my mudaf ilayhi, right? Ibn Khalid together is an idafa, the son of Khalid, right? So the son of Khalid is in the house. Or I could say Ibn Khalid yamshi is walking. Or I could say Ibnu Khalid tawilan, right? The son of Khalid is tall. Um, I could also say Ibnu Khalid huwa jamilun, for example, and that would technically, because I have another huwa there, there's two things the huwa could do, but one of them, is that the huwa is actually the mubtada for a second sentence. Okay, that's another possibility. So now I'm saying the son of Khalid, he is tall, he is beautiful, or he's handsome, maybe it's probably better. But this whole sentence is a nominal sentence with a mubtada and a khabar, all of which is acting like my khabar for my original sentence, which had the mubtada ibnu, right? Is this making sense to us? Do you have any questions? So this is just to kind of go over these first parts, right? Really the jumla ismiya, and we just went over these two things. The mubtada is always an ism. It can have a sifa like الرجل الكبير, or it can be an idafa, ibnu Khalid, right? Now we also went over the khabar. It can be an ism, ibnu Khalid tawilun. It can have a sifa, ibnu Khalid rajulun tawilun. I could say that. The son of Khalid is a tall man. I can also say ibnu Khalid, I could say ibnu Khalid, um, let's see. Well, ibnu Khalid is already an idafa, is also, um, so ibnu Khalid sadiqu abi, which is the son of Khalid is my father's friend, is the friend of my father. That's another idafa. So let me put that last one down. Okay, let's go back here. So you have Ibn Khalid, right? That's an idafa, but my khabar can also be an idafa. So you say Sadiqus Abi. Okay, and Sadiqu Abi is another idafa. That's a chained idafa. It has three parts to it. There's a question, yes. Yeah, so the idafa, like we said before, it has two parts to it, right? There's a mudaf and a mudaf ilayhi. Ibn Khalid by itself is an idafa. This is an idafa. It's just a construct that is generally possessive and it has an understood of in between the first part and the second part. The first part takes multiple roles in a sentence. It can be a mubtada, it can be a khabar, it can be a maf'ul bihi, it can change cases, it can be an ism majroor. The second part is always in the jar case. It never changes. It can't take another case. It's always jar, and that's what it is, right? And so that's how the idafa looks. The second part is always in the jad case, and the first part never takes al, right? It never takes al. And so it moves around. It's not a part, it doesn't have to be in a sentence. It's kind of like a sub-construct of like sifa wa mawsuf can also be anywhere, right? It moves around. But so does idafa. Idafa can be anywhere that you have a technical ism in a sentence, whether it's a mubtada, a khabar, a maf'ul bihi, an ism majroor, a fa'il, right? Those are really the five things I think we've covered that are isms so far, right? Tell me if I'm missing any. Mubtada, khabar, مفعول به, فاعل, and اسم مجرور. Those really are the main ones. Any of those five ism constructs or grammatical ism roles, it's the role of what an ism can be in a sentence. As we've covered it so far, any of those five things can have an idafa, as in the idafa it can be a part of that because it's adding more to what my ism is. It's giving a little bit more information. It's not just al bayt or bayt, it's baytu Khalidin. It's the house of Khalid, right? Or sadiqu Khalid. It's not just friend or a friend, it's the friend of Khalid, Khalid's friend, right? So it becomes possessive in that way. The same thing with the sifa. The sifa only works with isms. I can't use a sifa for a fa'il. So the sifa is also associated with those five isms, ism roles. We can call them ism roles, right? As in the role of an ism in a sentence, which includes in the nominal sentence the mubtada and the khabar, or it can be a fa'il or maf'ul bihi, right? Those are all isms, or the ism majroor, which is the word that comes after my harf jar. Does that make sense to us? Right? Okay, so we have the prepositional phrase. Okay, so this is just a khabar, right? We went over this with the khabar as well. The fa'al then, the jumla fa'liya, has these two constructs, the fa'al and the fa'al. Sometimes it has a maf'ul bihi, and then the fa'al, as I said, can be a sifa or an idafa, right? And so, okay. Any other questions on this so far? Does this make sense to us? I guess what I want to point out is that I think sometimes we get confused about the idafa and the sifa, but those are really, they can move depending on what is happening with my ism. As in, an idafa can be attached to any ism, any ism. It's a part of the ism, right? It makes the ism complex, right? It's not just Khalid, or it's not just the friend. It's the friend of Khalid, or it's not just the house or a house. It's the house of Khalid or the house of Bilal or something of that sort. Yes, Sajjad. Mm?
So sometimes the confusing part, especially in multiple choice between harf jar ism majroor and
Yeah,
idafa. For example, there is a question which says wujuhi yawma idhin alayha ghabara.
yeah,
So alayha ghabara is supposed to be harf jar ism majroor,
right.
but why is it not idafa? Alayha is an ism, isn't it?
Well, alayha is made up of two parts, ala and the ha, which is an attached pronoun. Right? And so the way
Okay.
that you can tell the difference between a harf jar and a ism majroor is really you have to memorize the huruf al jar. Bi, fi, li, ila, ala. Um,
Okay.
you have to memorize those because once you can identify the harf jar, you know what a jar or majroor. You can identify them immediately. But the idafa also, um, it works with two isms, right? And so this is I think it's lesson 10 in level 1A, but it's where there's a small set of isms that look like harf, but they're not harf, right? And they're in English they're prepositions, but in Arabic they're not technically a harf, they're not particles, and it's because they they have a type of independent meaning, and that's ba'da, fawqa, tahta, amama, right? All those things, they're usually three or more letters,
Are
right?
they called pointing nouns?
No, no, those pointing nouns are hada, hadihi, right? This or that.
Okay.
Um, but
Okay.
if you go to lesson 10, I believe that's
Yeah,
really the
I'll go.
lesson you want to look at. Yeah, because that'll look at the subtlety between idafa and a harf jar. Because the idafa does more than what it ism with what a jar wal majrud does. It does a lot more. Like
Okay.
an idafa isn't just a prepositional phrase, right? We know idafa is to be possessive, right? But sometimes an idafa, if it's being used with one of these adverbs that have indicate time, like ba'da or fawqa, time or place, really, ba'da, fawqa, tahta, amama, it's used as a preposition, right? Because remember, when we think of idafa, we've learned from level 1 that idafa is a possession, it's possessive. Something is of something else. But when I have that adverb that indicates time or place, right? Ma'a, ba'da, fawqa, tahta, amama, those are really the main ones. Baina also works. That that type of idafa is not a possessive, right? It's acting like a preposition in English, right? Does that help a little bit?
But yet it is an idafa in Arabic.
Yes, it is. It's grammatically in Arabic, it's still an idafa because the word ba'da, the word fawqa, and let me write them out just so we have a reference. Um, when I say ba'da with a dal, right? Ba'da. These all usually end in fatha, which is a big clue. Fawqa, excuse me. Tahta, right? These are they're called we call them like in English, one of the words we use are like adverbs of time and place. So we have tahta, amama, right? Let me think what else. These are the main ones. Ma'a is another one. Yeah, so there's another question.
Yamini,
These,
shimal.
yeah, anything else that comes with these are going to create idafas, but they're prepositions. It's because it wouldn't be possessive. If I said ba'da waqtin, it would be after some time. That's not a possessive, right? فوق
I got it.
الأرض, above the earth is not possessive, right?
Right. I got it.
Yeah,
Thanks.
awesome. Yes, Zahira.
So I think one thing that is very confusing for me is like I can recognize, okay, this is a jumla ismiya, jumla fa'aliya, but then the I guess in theory, like a jumla ismiya would have mubtada and khabar, and the mubtada and khabar in for a jumla ismiya should be in the rafa case, right?
Right.
But then
Yeah.
if you have like an idafa as your khabar, then I guess that case would override the fact that it's supposed to be rafa, like it would
Yeah.
then you would then have the mudaf ilayh, which would be um in jar instead. And so I
Right,
think
but
that is
look,
sometimes what's
mhm.
confusing to me.
So that's a good thing to point out because remember the idafa always has two parts, right? That second part is the only thing that's in the jud case. The first part, which is a separate word, is still rafa, right? Even if it's a khabar,
Right. Okay. Right. Okay.
right? Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Let's see. I think there's one in the chat. Yes, Yusuf B, thank you. They're called dharf. Yeah, makan, zaman. They're technically ism makan and ism zaman. That's the technical name. Um, Makan being place and zaman being time. They're isms that indicate time and place, right? And yes, they're all technically in Arabic. They're called dharf. Thank you. So here, right, and that's about the fawqa tahta. All of these amama, these are ba'da can indicate time or place, right? It could be after in times or after in terms of procession. Fawqa is above, right? Tahta is below. Amama is in front of. Ma'a is with. It's usually place. Inda is another one. So I hope this kind of helps. But generally what we want to think about is like I have my pillars, right? Mubtada khabar for my ismiya, fi'l and fa'al, and sometimes maf'ul bihi for my fa'liya, my jumla fa'liya. And then I have these two things that is an adjectival phrase, a sifil mawsuf, and the adafa, and they can kind of like show up in my mubtada, they can show up in my khabar, they can show up in my maf'ul bihi, they can show up in my fa'al or in my ism majroor, right? And it's really how those five principles kind of they interact with each other that is really what we're looking at. So what I'd like us to do is kind of let's go back to our activity or our lesson, and we can start thinking about this a little bit more in this way, and maybe that'll we can get some practice today. And if we still need more clarification, then we'll talk about it more next week, inshallah. But okay, so can we have a volunteer for this, if that's all right? Inshallah. Yes, Sajjad, go ahead.
So this is al-birru husnul khuluq.
Yes, awesome.
Um, husnul khuluq is uh, the goodness of character. So
Mhm.
that's an idafa.
Nice, awesome. Good. Now
And
let's look at the mudaf. The mudaf, right, which is the first part of my idafa, always has another role, and it's one of those five roles that we saw in our sentence, in our nouns, right, that work with our isms, excuse me. So it's either khabar, mubtada, fa'il, if maf'ul bihi, or an ism majroor. What would make the most sense for my mudaf to be here?
you mean within the husnul khuluq
Yeah,
or
like
within the
husnu.
whole
What
thing?
husnu is my mudaf, right?
The mudaf, yeah.
What is the grammatical role of the mudaf? Because the mudaf can't just be in a vacuum, right? It always is attached to some other role.
Yeah, so um, um, it's got a dhamma on it, and it's
Mhm.
the mubtada of this sentence.
Okay, well
Okay.
let's look at the first part of our sentence. Al-birru, right? What
Yeah,
kind of sentence do we have?
jumla ismiya.
Awesome. And so we have our pillars, right? Which are you mentioned mubtada. What's the other pillar?
The khabar is husnul khuluq, the whole phrase.
Okay, close. Yeah. So husnu is just the khabar by itself. The khabar is not khuluqi because khuluqi is my mudaf ilayhi. That's why it's jad. That's why it has the kasra, right? But just husnu as my mudaf is taking another role as the khabar here.
How about sifa and mawsuf?
So that wouldn't work, right? What would husnu match in? Remember, it has to match in gen,
Oh
right?
yeah, it's not definite like al khuluq.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right. Right. And so where's my mubtada then?
So is it inverted?
No, it wouldn't be inverted because an inverted sentence only happens when I start with a prepositional phrase like a jar or majroor. And so we'll learn more about that later. But al-birru is a word, right? It's just a
That's the
normal.
mubtada, right? Al
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
It's my mubtada. So I have my mubtada. I have husnu becomes my khabar. Al-khuluq is my mudaf ilayhi because
Right.
the whole thing is an idafa. So remember, the idafa is both parts together. The mubtada, the khabar, excuse me, is also husnu, right? So husnu is both my mudaf and my khabar. Al-khuluqi is not a part of my khabar. We're going to ignore it. It's just my mudaf ilayhi. It can't be a part of the khabar because it doesn't take that dhamma, right?
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, great. And this is a hadith actually. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, alhamdulillah. Let's go ahead and go to our listening exercise. And so what I'd like us also to do, if there are people or students that have their additional the app on their the dictionary app on their phones, if you guys want to pull it up and just write an app in the chat, and we can have you guys looking up words throughout the class. So just let me know if you're one of those. For those that weren't here last week, we basically had people download the Hansver app on their phone, and they were looking up words for some extra practice. What I'm going to go ahead and do is play this so that we can listen to it. And then we're going to go ahead and break it down. Okay, bismillah.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون.
Okay, awesome. So we had Sajjad go. We'll take Shazia. Could you give me these first two blanks, please, and tell me, what do you notice?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Okay. So the first is nahamdu, and the other
Good.
one is nastaghfiru.
Awesome. Okay. What are you noticing in this sentence here?
So these are verbs.
Okay. Both the
But
ones
I'm
you brought up? Mhm.
Yes.
What kind of verbs are they?
These are mudara
Excellent.
verbs.
Yeah. Awesome. What are their doers?
The noon is the doer. Na.
Okay, close. So the noon itself is not the doer. This is just a prefix that's telling me what my doer is. The doer for present tense verbs, usually, unless they're attached at the end, it's hidden. So this is
Implied.
a nahnu, right? This is nahnu technically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Implied.
Yeah, it's understood. It's understood partially because that na in the beginning, but a prefix like na or ya or ta is never going to be a doer. It's never a fa'al.
Right.
Okay.
And the who in the end is adafa then? No.
Okay, so remember, in idafa is when we have a ism plus a ism. Here we have a fi'al plus a ism. So what would the who be? We have an ism usually coming immediately after attached, especially if it's attached to my verb like this. What is it going to be grammatically?
So what would it be? It cannot be a file. File we already determined.
Right, good.
So what is the who in the end then?
So if I have a fa'al, remember, a jumla fa'liya can have, always has to have a fa'al, but sometimes it can have a maf'ul bihi as well, right?
But the maf'ul bihi is with the a fatha on top, but it is cemented. Okay, it's fixed.
There you go. There you
Okay.
go. Awesome. Right? The
So
who's in
this
all
is
of these.
so in this if we cut down the inna, so it's a jumla failure then.
What is hamd? Alhamd.
Alhamd. So it's a nominal sentence then.
Yeah, it's going to be a jumla ismiya, right? Yeah, awesome.
And does not have any impact, even though
I'm sorry?
in does not have any impact on.
So we're just ignoring it for now, just because we haven't learned it yet, right? So we're going to ignore it because we'll learn it in level 2. Yes, Sajjad.
Thank you.
Why is there a fatah on alhamda?
It's because of inna, which we haven't learned yet.
Okay.
Yeah, but good question. All right, let's go ahead. After Shazia, we have, okay. Let's go down. I think we have Zahira. Can you give me the next two blanks and tell me what you notice?
Yes. So it's shurur and
Mhm. Nice.
amal.
Awesome. Yeah, great.
So wanaudu would also be another fa'al,
Awesome. Yep.
and that's also mudari, and
Nice.
nahnu would be our fa'il.
Awesome. Yep.
Billahi would be a prepositional phrase.
Awesome. Yep.
Min shururi would be another prepositional phrase.
Nice.
Anfusina, I think is also a present tense verb.
Anfusi. That's a nice try. Understand why you'd think that. But anfus is actually the plural of nafs.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
great. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So that would then be an idaf.
Yeah, good. Now, is the idafa just anfusina or is it shururi anfusina?
Yes, it would be shururi anfusina.
Yeah, awesome. So here, shururi is my mudaf, but what else is it here, Zahira? What's its other ism role?
It's also the ism majrur.
Awesome. Yeah, excellent. Okay, great.
And then woman sa'i sayyati would again be another prepositional phrase.
Okay, awesome.
And then amalina sayyati amalina would be another idafa.
Yeah, awesome. Great. And sayyati again is both my mudaf and my
Mudaf ilayhi. No, also the ism majrur again.
yeah, exactly. Awesome. Because it comes after min. Excellent. Yes, Bilal.
I just had a quick question. For
Mhm,
anfusina,
mhm.
that word itself, is it not considered an idafa too?
So it's a part of, it is an idafa, but it's a part of a chained idafa, right? Because there's three parts to the idafa here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I just wanted to make sure that it was actually an idafa as well, just
It
the
is.
word
Yeah,
itself.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. By
Oh, okay.
itself, anfusina is two words that are making an idafa as well. But when we have shururi with it, it's a three-part idafa.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Let's go ahead and go to the top of our list. We have Isa. Can you give me the next two blanks, please?
من يهده الله فلا مضل له
Mm-hmm.
ومن يضلل فلا هادي له.
Awesome. What are you seeing here?
So I think that this man yahdihi, I think this is a jumla ismiya because is man an ism.
Yeah, good. You're right. It's an ism mawsul. It means whoever. And technically, it is a jumla ismiya, but this is like a compound construct because it's a conditional sentence. It's like
Right,
saying whoever Allah guides him, right?
right.
Yeah. Awesome. But yeah, that's good.
So yahdihi, Allah guides him, so he is the maf'ul bi.
Hmm. Nice.
Allahu lafzul jalala is the doer
Hmm.
for
Nice.
yahdi.
Yep. Hmm.
Fala mudilla la, so not misguide him. Mudilla is a past tense verb
So this is tricky, actually. Mudilla,
or is a noun.
it is a noun. Yeah, we'll learn about it in level two. It comes from the same verb, adalla yudillu, which is also a
Mhm.
form four verb, but this is the ism fa'al for the form four. It's the one who leads astray. There's no one that'll lead him astray, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that's good. Okay, awesome. What else are you seeing?
And then it sort of repeats. So man yudlil. So then man is an ism again, and then
Mhm.
but
Nice.
I think yudlil now is a present
Yeah.
tense verb.
Technically it's fi'l mudari', but
Oh,
it's in a different case because of that sukoon. Same thing with yahdi, like that ya gets dropped here. And it's because the jumla shartiya, the conditional sentence, causes it to act like this, which we'll learn about
oh.
probably in like level four or something. So don't worry about it. But it is a
So
verb.
this is so it is past tense, but it's conditional.
Yeah. Uh It's
or it's its
technically
own tense?
you can interpret it as the present because it's like saying
Oh,
whoever
okay.
Allah guides him, there's no one who
Yeah,
will misguide him, and whoever misguided,
right.
um,
There's no guide for him.
yeah, or sorry, whoever he misguides. Yeah, it's still technically understood as the present. It's just a special case of the present. Not the present. I don't want to use present tense, but the mudari in particular that is being used here because of the conditional. But yeah, yeah.
So the
Okay.
sign is the sukun on the dha.
Yeah, that's one of the signs. The other sign is like it loses weak letters or loses the noon. If it's like yadrusuna, it becomes yadrusu, or yadrusan, it becomes yadrusa. So you'll learn all the rules later, inshallah. But yeah, that's one of the main signs is a sukun.
Okay.
The default sign, one might say. Yes, Iram.
What's fala means?
So the fat is like so. So it's like after it's the second part of the conditional. We say whoever does this and this, then or so, like such the case that there is no one who misguides them. The la is just a negation, right?
Oh, okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Mhm. Okay. So after Isa, we have Asif B. If you'd like to give me the next blank and tell me what you notice.
Assalamualaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
The next blank is Abdu.
Nice. Okay. All right. What do you notice here?
So Abdu is a ism.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Abduhu is an ism. Abd is an ism, yeah. So we have an ism plus a pronoun attached to it. What's this construct? It's an ism plus a ism.
so the who it would be the maf'ul bihi.
Okay. Is there a verb here that would tell me it's a maf'ul bihi? Didn't you tell me Abdu is a ism?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I can only have a maf'ul bihi if I have a fa'il, right? وَأَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا عَبْدُهُ وَرَسُولُهُ. Do we see any fi'als there?
Um,
So anna is actually just a particle. It just means that.
okay.
So there's no fi'als actually. So that means the who can't be a maf'ul bihi, right? If the pronoun is attached to an ism, it's going to become an idafa, right?
Okay.
Because it's a ism, a pronoun attached to another ism. It gives us two isms because a pronoun is technically an ism. And so we have two isms next to each other, we get an idafa. And it's his servant, right?
Mhm.
Just like rasuluhu, it'll be the same thing. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the
Awesome.
who is that contract being the DOF as well.
Yeah, so the who, so can you give me the two parts of the idafa in each of these?
For Abdul
Yeah.
and so Abd is the mudaf
Good. hmm
and the who is mudaf alayh.
Good. What's the case of the mudaf ilayhi?
It's jar.
Okay, but I can't
But
see
it's
the
fixed.
kasra here.
Yeah, it's fixed because it's a attached pronoun.
Yeah, awesome. Great job. Excellent. Yeah. Yes, Shazia.
So what is Muhammadan? Is it like if those two are idafas and it is jumla ismiya, what
Mhm.
is Muhammadan?
So Muhammadan is technically just an ism for anna. Okay, so this is something, it's like the situation with inna here where we have a fatha, right? It's the same thing. Yeah, so we haven't learned it yet. But these are good questions. Yeah, so Muhammadan is uh-huh.
So Muhammadan will be mubtada or not?
It's like the mubtada for a jumla that has anna. But we call it that the name is no longer mubtada. It's ism anna. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
And can we call it jumla ismiya still?
So right now we can technically it's not, but right now you can say it's like a jumla ismiya. It is not technically, but we just don't have all the technical grammar terms yet, right?
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Or you could just say it's a jumla with anna and this is the mubtada for that jumla. Whatever works.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So we have ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah. We don't have, there's a lot in here that we haven't learned yet. So as long as we understand that ashhadu is a ism, it's a fi'l mudari', that's the main thing we should know. That there's no God except Allah, the one, and there's no partner for him, right? We should know the jar majrud here too. Awesome. Okay, I think next we have Asma. Can you give me these last few blanks and then we can go to the next slide.
The first one is attaqu
Mm-hmm.
and then haqqa and then Muslimuna.
Awesome. Tell me what you're noticing.
So alladhina is that relative
Yeah,
pronoun?
awesome. It's a relative pronoun. Good.
A
Yeah.
plural.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Nice.
Amanu I know is a fail. I'm don't is it a is it Madi?
It is actually good. The waw alif is really the big giveaway here. And it's a form 4 verb, which we haven't covered yet. Technically, it comes from atmana, but we have two hamzas here, so this turns into a mud. It becomes amana. Yeah.
And then attaqu is
Mhm.
also a fail, but
Yeah.
is it a command verb this time?
Good. It is. Yeah. Awesome. Ittaqullah. Yeah, absolutely. Hmm.
Oh yeah, it and then Allah is the maf'ul bihi.
Nice. Hmm.
Um I don't know what haqqa is. Haqqa is that a sifa?
Not exactly. Um, yeah. But what else are you saying besides that? So go ahead. Haqqa tuqatihi. What's that?
Tuqatihi, that's another fail. Um,
Okay.
that's mudari or
Okay. Yeah, that's tricky. So tuqatihi is actually another ism. It means fear,
uh,
and this is actually a part of the adafa with haqqa. Haqqa
uh,
tuqatihi. Yeah. Haqqa tuqatihi. Yes. Okay. So it's actually a three-part idafa.
okay, because the he
Yeah.
is the attached pronoun. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then tamutunna is a fail.
Tamutunna. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Good. It comes from mata yamutu, and this noon is for emphasis. So technically, you see it tamutu, right?
Yeah.
But the noon is for emphasis. So this is haqqa to haqqatihi is actually, it's nasab because of a very special reason that we had just haven't covered yet, and it's just not worth discussing at the moment. But it is nasab technically. Yeah.
And then antum muslimuna, is that like a separate sentence?
Yep.
Jumla ismiya.
Yes. Yep. So where's my mubtada and my khabar?
So antum is the mubtada, muslimuna is the khabar.
Yeah, awesome. Excellent. Great job. Let's go to the next section. Okay. Bismillah. Oh, it's not playing yet.
يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا
Awesome.
يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما.
All right. So Bilal, could you give us these first three blanks, please? Let's see, Bilal, are you there? Maybe we
Hello?
need.
Hello?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, sorry, my headphones disconnected.
No problem.
Um, يا أيها الذين no, sorry. I was looking at the wrong one.
Mhm,
يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي
mhm.
خلقكم
Nice.
من نفس واحدة.
Okay, what are you seeing here?
Um, يا الناس so اتقوا is like command verb. ربكم
Nice. Yeah.
is
Yep.
إضافة. Um, الذي خلقكم.
Okay, let's look at
Uh,
Rabbakum for 1 second. Sorry.
yeah.
Rabbakum, we have our mudaf and our mudaf ilayh. Where's my mudaf?
Um, is رب Rabba.
Good. It's rabba. So rabba, remember, the mudaf has another case. It has another role. It's not just mudaf, right? It has another role that tells me what its case is. So it has a fatha because of its role in its second role in the sentence, which is what here? Why does it have a fatha here?
It's because it's a direct object.
Yeah, good. Of ittaq. Ittaqu. Nice. Exactly. Awesome. Cool. Thank you. Go
Uh,
ahead and keep going. الذي خلقكم.
so خلقكم is also an idafa.
Is it? خلق. Let's
خل
take out the
well,
kum. What's خلق by
yeah,
itself?
خلق is oh yes, yes. It's a verbal noun.
Okay,
Would it be actually
if I put it here by
خلق is
its
just a past tense verb, right?
exactly. Yeah, that's why it's tripping you up. Yep. خلق. It's just a past tense verb. Good. This is what's tricky, right? We have ربكم and خلقكم, right? But we have to pay attention. خلق is actually a Maldi verb. So what's the kum then?
That's just for the specific scenario because he wants to mention everyone,
Right, but
right? What's everyone
grammatically,
being
what is its role?
مفعول به.
Exactly, because it's after a verb, right? Awesome. Cool. من نفس واحدة. What else is happening here?
من نفس is a prepositional phrase.
Okay,
من نفس
good.
واحدة, and that's a sifa.
Awesome. Good. So here we have what's the nafsin in my min nafsin wahida? What's its grammatical role? If it's a prepositional phrase, what part of the prepositional phrase is nafsin? Is it?
Uh, I'm trying to remember the term.
Yeah, remember this is a jar
Sifa.
majrur, right?
Is it just a sifa? Is it just a sifa?
So remember, it's a sifa in relation to wahid, right? It's a
Oh, yes.
mawsuf in relation to wahid. Wahid is my sifa, right? It's the adjective itself. Nafsin is the
Okay.
thing described, so it's the mawsuf. But min
Okay.
is a harf jar, and nafs is my ism majrur, right? So
Okay.
here, the mawsuf, which is something that has a sifa, is also the ism majrur, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. I think we have Bushra next. Yes, Shazia, we'll take your question quickly.
So if this is jumla ismiya, where is the pillars? Where is the khabar and the mubtada?
This actually isn't a jumla ismiya. So ya ayyuhan nasu is where we pause, right? Because that's the calling out. So we
Okay.
pause here, right? Because like it's
And
saying,
then you
oh
start with the
people,
verb. Okay.
yeah, it's saying, oh people, ittaqu. So it's a verbal sentence. Yeah.
Okay.
Good
Got it.
question though. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I understand because when other things come in the beginning, you can kind of lose sight of like, what am I starting with, right? It's a good question. Okay, I think Bushra, go ahead.
Okay.
Yep.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum
Yes,
assalam.
so next one is زوجها
Mhm.
وبث منهما
Mhm.
رجالا
Good.
كثيرا
Mhm. Nice. Okay,
ونساء.
what are you noticing here?
So وخلق, that's a past tense word.
Good,
منها
awesome. Mhm.
منها is jar majrur.
Awesome.
زوجها is إضافة.
Awesome. And what now let's look at my mudaf. What else is my mudaf?
مضاف is زوجة and
Yeah.
ها مضاف إليه.
Good. But remember, the mudaf always has a second role.
Oh.
It's why it has a fatha, right? So what's the second role of the mudaf? It's not just a mudaf, it has to be something else as well.
وخلق منها. So it's gonna be the مفعول به of
Awesome. Yeah, it's a maf'ul bihi also. That's why it has a fatha. It's in the nasib case, right? Excellent. Okay.
then وبث. I'm not sure what that is.
Okay. What does it look like to you? Like just off the cuff.
I mean, it's coming as a وخلق and وبث. That would
Good.
should have to be a fail.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is actually a fi'l maldi, just like khalaqa. And that's one of the nice things about atif, like conjunctions, is that usually something very similar follows after a conjunction. But batha, what are my root letters of batha?
Um, I mean,
Go
initially
ahead
I
and
would say
guess.
bath and tha, but
You're right.
maybe okay.
You're right, yeah. It's just a normal past tense. But if I want to look this up in my dictionary, what do I look up? Do I look up batha tha, or do I just look up batha?
I would start with batha.
Good. Yeah,
Yes.
that's exactly what we do. And if you look up just bat and tha, you'll find to spread. That's the main definition. It's like to spread, to disperse, to scatter. So he dispersed from them, the two of them, the zawj and the zawja, right? The feminine. From the two of them, what came? Rijalan kathiran wa nisaa. Okay, go ahead and give me the rest of this.
Okay. Then minhuma, that is
Mhm.
for the two.
Yep.
conjugated for two, right? Ma.
Yeah. Yep. For the
Then
zawja.
also
Zawj wa
majrur.
zawjaha.
Okay, got
Good.
it.
It's jar
And
majrur. Nice. Okay.
then rijalan kasiran. That is men and women? No. Many men and women.
Yes. Awesome. So rijalan, what is it grammatically?
Sorry.
I said, what is rijalan grammatically? It has fathas on it.
Rijalan. It's a maful bihi for
Yeah.
batha.
Awesome. Good. And kathiran, for some that might think that it's a sifa, it's actually not. Because remember, it's yeah, it's something that's a little different. Right, we're saying many men. It's more like an adverb here. It's not really an adjective because you're answering how many, and that's another grammatical construct. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I got
Okay.
that.
Yeah, don't worry
And
about
men
that.
and women. So
Hmm. Yeah, awesome. Yes, Shazia.
men, many, and women.
Hmm.
That's how it should be
Yeah,
read.
but you can also say many men and women. I mean, you wouldn't say, yeah, that's fine. Mhm.
Okay. So kathiran is for both men and women.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of implied, I want to say, but yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Go ahead, Shazia.
So if this is of a bassa, it is
Mhm.
jumla fi'liya. So the fail is bas. Where is the file? File is implied, or min huma is the file?
Okay, remember the fa'il can only be it can it's either a explicit noun that comes after it or it's attached, right, which is not all the time, or it's understood. It's implied, right? So minhuma is not a pronoun, right? It couldn't be minhuma. And batha here is being conjugated for huwa. So the doer is going to be huwa. It's an implied huwa.
Is it huwa or is it ha?
No, it's going to be huwa because batha is
Spread
just like
from them.
khalaqa.
Okay.
So this homa is not going back to my doer, right? Because he didn't spread them from himself, right? Betha here is Allah spreading.
Okay. Okay.
Allah spread them, the two of them, the man and his spouse, right?
Okay.
Does that make
Done.
sense? Or the soul and its spouse, right? Technically it's the nafs. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah. Okay. Next, I think we have, let's see, Idam.
So, so it's واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون
Mhm.
به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا.
Awesome. What are you seeing?
So اتقوا is also the command verb,
Nice. Okay.
and لفظ جلالة is مفعول به,
Awesome. Mhm.
and الذي is the اسم موصول.
Yeah, good. So sifa for Allah, right? Same with here. Alladhi up here is also sifa for Rabb. Awesome.
And تساءلون is مضارع. Is it?
Yeah, good. It's a fi'l mudari. It's a form 3, which we haven't covered yet, but you don't have to worry about it now. Mhm.
Okay. به is jar majrur,
Nice.
and والأرحام أرحام is the مفعول به for تساءلون.
Yeah. So this is no, it's actually following Allah in ittaqu. Because ittaqu here doesn't mean fear, it means be conscious of. So it's saying be conscious of Allah, alladhi tasa'aluna bihi, like the one who you ask him, right? Like you ask him for things. Wal arham, and arham here is following Allah. It's a conjunction that goes back that follows the word Allah, and it's like and be conscious of the wombs. And here it's in what's understood by arham are your relations your that come from the womb, like your blood relations. That's what it's referring to.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
إن الله كان عليكم is also jar majrur.
Nice, good.
And رقيبة is it مفعول به for كان?
Yeah, we could say that for now. That's what it is. Yeah. Awesome. Indeed, Allah is over all of them, like watchful. Awesome. All right. Thank you, Iram. I think next we have Shazia. Can you give me the next 3 blanks, please?
Okay. Just So يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقالوا.
Okay, give me one sec. Okay, what are you noticing here?
قولا سديدا. What am I noticing? So it is جملة فعلية, and
Okay.
آمنوا is again command verb.
Amanu actually is a past tense verb. Ittaqu is the command verb.
Okay.
Yeah.
Allah is the مفعول به
Okay,
of
nice.
اتقوا.
Yep.
قالوا is
So this is
again
qulu. Yeah.
وقولوا.
Yeah.
So Kulu, is it past?
This is actually also command, like ittaqu, like in say.
Okay, why?
Okay.
We,
Huh?
wow is the,
It comes from qala yaqulu, right?
I see.
And you get rid of you put a sukoon here first, right? Um, so you have yaqulu, right? Um, so what we do is we get rid of this, we put a sukoon on this, and because there's two sukoons here, we just, well, no. Technically, originally this would have been qul, right? For ana, for anta would be qul, but because there's a wow here, we actually keep this wow, and it just becomes qulu. So this is it's just a command conjugation. It's irregular, so I don't know if we've necessarily learned it, but it's gonna be an irregular command, and it's because qala yaqulu is an irregular word. It has a weak letter in it. Yeah.
It is plural.
Yeah, it's for the plural. That's why my
It's
doer.
for the plural. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what is colon
Mhm.
sadidan?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
sifa mausuf?
Yeah, that's correct. It is a sifil mawsuf, absolutely. But what is qawl? Why is it in that? Why does it have a fatha? Qawlan.
Because it is maful bi of who?
Qulu.
Qawlan?
Yeah, qulu.
Qulu?
Yeah. Yep. Well, for now we'll say to maf'ul bihi. Technically it's something else, but you learn that in level 3, so don't worry. Okay, awesome. Anything else?
This is a mudare. Uh, Yuslih is a
Yep, awesome.
mudare.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, and where is the file for this? It's implied.
It's also applied huwa, right? Huwa yuslih, yani Allah.
Okay.
Hmm.
So the maful be of this would be the amal.
Good, awesome. A'mal. And what else is a'malakum? There's a kum there, so we have an ism plus a ism.
Adafa then.
Nice, awesome. And then what's lakum?
Lakum is mudaf. This one is yeah, ism majroor.
Yeah,
Is
good. It's a jar majroor construct.
jar
Kum being
majroor.
the ism majroor. Excellent.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. And then I think we have Zahira, and then we'll go ahead and take a break here, and then we'll come back, inshallah.
ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما.
Awesome. Okay, what are you noticing?
So this would be a jumla fa'aliya.
Awesome. Okay.
Yaghfir would be a mudari verb.
Nice. Awesome.
And then the doer would be hidden. It would
Nice.
be for anta.
It's actually for
I'm
yeah,
sorry,
right?
Hua,
Yeah.
hua. Sorry,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. And then the nubukum would be that would be idafa.
Yeah, good. What else is it? Remember, the mudaf always has another role. It's not just a mudaf ever.
Yes,
Right?
so it would also be the fa'il. No,
Okay,
it would be the maful bihi.
Right. Because the sins, the misdeeds can't forgive, right? Allah forgives your misdeeds. Awesome.
And then waman yuti Allah, that would be a prepositional phrase, and then yuti Allah would
So
be.
here I have a question. Is man the same as min?
No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah, good. So man is actually an ism. It's an ism mawsul. It means whoever.
Okay. So man yatiya Allah, that would be an idafa then.
Okay, yultai is actually what kind of a word? Is it a
Oh,
ism?
it's a verb. It's a verb.
Yeah,
It's a
it's a
file.
mudari
It's a
verb. Yeah.
mudari'f. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a
So what's
mudari'f.
Allah then?
So Allah would be the doer, the file. Or
Okay,
no,
how does
it would be the maf'ul bihi because it's
yeah.
got a fatha on it.
Good, awesome. So the doer is an implied huwa that goes back to men. Like whoever obeys Allah, right? So the person that's obeying is whoever is in that fits into that conditional statement, right? Yeah, awesome.
Um, what rasuluhu would be another idafa.
Okay, what else is a mudaf here? Rasul
Um,
lahu.
so
Rasula. Fatha.
so it'd also be another maf'ul bihi.
Yeah, awesome. It's following, right? This waw is a conjunction. So whoever
Right,
obeys
okay.
Allah and his messenger, right?
Right, okay. And then faqad would be a verb.
Yeah, so here
Um,
fa it means so or then, and qad
oh,
is
okay,
actually a type
okay.
of emphasis. Like so then certainly faza fawzan azima.
Okay. And then so fawzan adiman would be masuf sifa.
Awesome, okay.
Um, but faza would be that's a verb, a past tense
Okay,
verb.
good. Yeah, it's like qala or ba'a, right? Nice. And so what's fawzan gonna be from what we've covered so far? Oh,
So that
zan,
so
excuse me.
that would be maf'ul bihi.
Yeah, awesome. It's technically not, but we haven't covered that yet. So for now, we'll say it is a maf'ul bihi. Yes, Iram, go ahead.
So, for yaghfir, how do we know it's not a command because it's end with sukoon?
Yeah, it's because we know it's not a command because it starts with a ya, right? And that's how we conjugate the mudari. If it was ighfir, it would be a command, right?
Okay. Thank you. Yep.
Now it's yaghfir, it's what we call mudari majzum, which we'll cover in level 2. But this is it's like the second part of the command.
Yep.
Fear Allah or be conscious of Him and say good deeds. He will. What's He going to do? Rectify for you your actions and forgive you for your sins. That it's the second part of the conditional sentence. Those that do this for Allah, He will do this, right? Awesome. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Any other questions on this? Okay, alhamdulillah. Let's go ahead and we'll probably take like an 8-minute break if that's all right, and we can come back at 18 and continue inshallah. So I'll go ahead and put a timer up and I'll see you all in about 8 minutes. All right. Inshallah, everyone is back. We're going to go ahead and get into our Quran analysis. Alhamdulillah. So we'll just go ahead and take an ayah at a time and see how we do with that. Okay, Alhamdulillah. So I think we ended with Zahira, if that's correct. And so we can go ahead and take Isa, but Isa, we'll go ahead and just give you the first two verses because they're very similar grammatically. So go ahead and get started.
Okay, Watini was Zaytun. You said the first two?
Yeah, the first two verses, yeah. وطور سنين.
Okay, Waturi Sinin.
Mhm.
So this is, I mean, I want to say it's a prepositional phrase
Yeah, and why do you want to say that?
because the isms are all jar,
Yeah,
but what's weird to me is that like wow is an at,
yeah,
right? It's
right.
not necessarily a harf, but I know that they're like different wows.
Yeah, and that's exactly where we'll go, is that this is actually what we call waw al-qasam, which is an oath. It's like when I say wallahi, why is it he? Wallahi. It's because the wow is making into an oath, and it's one of the things that causes jar. We haven't learned this yet. It's kind of higher level, and it's not as common as the jar majrur construct or the idafa, so we don't really like cover it the same way. And so I think you learned this probably come like level 3. But yeah, the wow al-qasm is what's causing teen to take the kasra and zaytuni and also turi, and we'll see also hada as well, which is why baladi has a kasra. All right, awesome. So what's happening with turi sinin?
It's an idafa.
Awesome, that's the other one. Great, thank you. All right. Okay, I think next we have Asif B. Could you give me وهذا البلد الأمين?
So هذا البلد الأمين.
Mhm.
So is this a جملة اسمية?
It is kind of. It's just the hada is actually following the qasam. And so also
Okay.
like and swearing by the city, like the safe city is one way to translate it. By this
Okay.
safe city. And I think it's referring to Mecca, I believe.
Okay. So
But
the
mhm,
بلد الأمين is adjectival phrase, and
good. Mhm.
بلد is your مبتدا, right? And
Well, it's by Mawsuf here, remember. It's not
I mean,
technically a
sorry,
Jumla Ismiya,
yeah,
right?
um,
Yeah.
uh, أمين is your صفة.
Awesome. Yeah, and then hada is also hada al-baladi is also like a sifo mawsuf, and it's because hada is one of those pointing words, right? It's not technically, but it kind of acts like that. Awesome. Thank you so much. I think Asma, we have you for the next verse. لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم.
So خلقنا is a فعل ماضي
Hmm.
and الإنسان is the مفعول به.
Nice. Where's my
And
fa'il for خلقنا?
خلقنا is the noon.
Yeah, good. The na is my fa'il. Excellent.
And
Yeah.
then في أحسن is a jar ومجرور.
Awesome. Yep.
And then أحسن تقويم is an إضافة and أحسن is the مضاف and تقويم is the مضاف إليه.
Good. What else is the mudaf? It's remember the mudaf always has more than one role. What is its grammatical role here?
It's also an اسم مجرور.
Awesome, which is why it takes the kasra. Excellent. All right. Next we have Bilal. Can you give me this next verse? ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين.
Uh, so رددناه
Mm-hmm.
is a verb,
Mm-hmm.
past tense,
Good.
verb.
Awesome. Where's my doer?
Um, it's the na,
Awesome. It's the na again. Excellent. And what's that who?
and then it's a
رددناه.
idafa.
Hold
Oh
on.
no, no, it's not idafa. It would be it's the maf'ul bi, right?
Yeah, excellent. Remember, idafas are always between two
Two
isms, right?
isms, yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Okay.
And then asfala safilin, that's also an idafa.
Yeah, good. Asfala safin is an idafa. That's correct. Why is it asfala? Oh,
Um,
actually, we don't know why technically. Technically, we don't know why. But we could say it's like It's like a second maf'ul bihi. It's not explicitly, but it's kind of, we'll learn more about it in level 3. But like it's more describing the state of human beings. What is their state? The uh excuse me, this one isn't state. It's the state of him being low. Like we reduced him into the state of being low. And so it's what we call hal, but we'll learn more about that in level 3. Yes, Asif.
I was just gonna ask if
Hmm?
is it an adverb?
It's it's kind of like adverbs in English, I think they work a little differently, right?
Uh,
Um, but it could be like how, it's answering the question how, like how did they reduce him?
hmm.
Or like radadna can mean to reduce, to return. I have to reduce, but it's somewhat similar. Um, what did they reduce him to? To the state of being low. Not just lowly, but the lowest of the low ones, right? Okay. Let's see. Next we had Asma Bilal Bushra. Could you give me this next verse? إلا الذين آمنوا. And you can go ahead and ignore إلا for now because we haven't learned it yet.
Yeah,
آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر غير ممنون.
got it. Illa, I believe except is something
Yeah.
we did cover in previous. Illa
Yeah.
alladhi. So
Mhm.
this is ism mawsul. Alladhina. We are pointing the
Yes,
one
good. It's an
to.
ism also. It's a relative pronoun. Yes. Mhm.
And then amanu wa amilu. That's
Mhm.
past tense.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mazi.
Where's my doer for these two?
Wow.
Yeah, excellent. The wow is my doer. Excellent.
So both in the past. As-salihati.
Hmm.
That is the maf'ul bihi.
Yeah, good. What's the sign though for the maf'ul bihi here?
Because it's a feminine, sound feminine, so it's gonna be ati.
Yeah, good. Sound feminine plural that takes a kasra in the nasab case. Excellent. Yeah, absolutely good.
Then falahum ajrun.
Mm-hmm.
So lahum for them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Ajrun, that's a prepositional phrase.
Which
For
one
that.
is the prepositional phrase?
Lahum is the jar majrur,
Yeah, awesome. Mm-hmm.
and then lahum ajrun, that would be the combined together is idafa. For them, there's a reward.
Okay. Does that sound like an idafa? Does that
No,
sound possessive to
no,
us?
no, no. Lahum ajrun. No, you're right.
For them,
It,
there is something, right? What does that sound like? When we have a copula or is in between two parts, right? What kind of a construct is that?
that's gonna be ismiya, jumla ismiya itself.
Good, exactly. Absolutely. Yeah, excellent. So here it is a jumla ismiya, but my mubtada is actually ajrun. It comes later because it's indefinite. And remember, mubtadas usually aren't indefinite, but if they are, and we have a preposition before it, a prepositional phrase, lahum, which is my khabar, I have an inverted nominal sentence. So lahum, for them is a reward. The reward is my delayed subject, my delayed mubtada, and my uh, like my early predicate or my what you call mubtada khabar muqaddam, like the khabar that comes early. That's gonna be lahum. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
And then what
so
about
ajrun ghayru mamnoon.
mm-hmm.
That's I'm not sure what's happening there.
Yeah, so غير ممنون is an idafa construct because of غير. It can create an idafa construct. And so, but غير, if you notice, it has a dhamma. And so it's actually describing ajrun. What
Ajrun,
kind
yes.
of ajr is it? It's one that has no end, right? Like we don't know where it ends. God knows. So it's actually pretty amazing, right? So those that believe and do righteous actions, for them is a reward that doesn't end, right? And think about that's what the Jannah doesn't have an end to it, right? Yes, Zahira.
Can you please explain again the falahum ajrun, why that's the mubtada and khabar like reversed?
So it's reversed because one, the mubtada is indefinite. We know that the mubtada generally is definite, but sometimes the mubtada might be indefinite. And if it's indefinite and we have a prepositional phrase coming right at the beginning, because remember, a sentence doesn't start with a prepositional phrase. But if it does, and then it's likely going to be an inverted nominal sentence.
Okay, thank you.
The fa is just saying so, right? Yeah, awesome.
So, a quick question. Ajrun غير mamnoon. So غير mamnoon essentially is the sifa for ajr, right?
So not all of غير ممنون. غير by itself is a sifa. غير ممنون is an idafa.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
So غير is the sifa for ajrun. So sifa
Yeah.
mawsuf.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, awesome.
Is it also a prepositional phrase?
So I have it set as a prepositional phrase, like that's what it says in the text, but I don't think technically it would be it depends on how you're looking at ghaid. But the way I understood it was that ghaid is usually considered to be an idafa, but I can double check for us. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I have mudaf ilayhi majroor. Yeah. Yeah, so I have it as an idafa. I guess maybe it could be a prepositional phrase, but ghaid from like in the technical Arabic is usually an idafa. Yeah, sifa mudafa. Yeah, most of the commentaries that do the i'rab are saying it's an idafa. It's like it falls under that category of like ba'da and stuff. Not technically in that it's a adverb of time or place because it's not. It just means other than or a non-ending. It's a type of negation and it acts like an idafa generally. Okay. So we had Idam, did you go yet? I think you have the next verse.
Um, so yukazzibuka is the mudare and
Nice. Mm-hmm.
wa is the file and ka tell us is maf'ul bihi.
Yeah, awesome. Okay,
So
awesome. Mm-hmm. What kind of contract is bid-din?
bidin is the jar majrur.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, yeah.
And what will be badu?
Yeah, so this is a little tricky. So ba'du it's an idafa, but the mudaf ilayhi is actually not there. So it's like there's something here that's missing. And it's like saying, one of the commentaries said that it's like saying ba'du, where is it? Ba'du dhikr al-insan, which is like after like the man remembers, what is it that he denies about the judgment, right? So it's like after remembering, what do you deny about the judgment? Like, if you consider it or if you can recall it, how can you deny it? Something like that. Um, okay. Okay, we had Idam. Now we have Shazia. Can you end the surah for us, please?
So, أليس الله
Mm-hmm.
بأحكم الحاكمين.
Mm-hmm.
Um, B is jar majroor,
Mm-hmm. Nice.
and بأحكم is a command verb.
So remember, if it's Jawd Majrood, can it be a verb at the same time? Is
No,
ahkam
no,
is
no.
it's a majrood, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry for that. So this must be the Nadafa because then the
Good.
other one is al-Hakimin.
Yeah, ahkam al-hakimin is actually an idafa. So ahkami is both my mudaf. What else is it grammatically? Why does it have that kasra?
Kasra because of B.
Yes, that's correct. But what's its grammatical name? The word that comes after a ba like that, what is its grammatical name?
It's a majroor.
Yeah, excellent. So it's a majrur and a mudaf. Excellent. And then hakimin is my mudaf ilayhi. What's the case for my mudaf ilayhi?
It is jar.
Right? But what's the sign here? Because I've hakimin.
Hakimin.
Yeah.
It's a noun plural. That's why
Right.
it's in jar case.
But what's the sign for the
And
jud case?
yeah, it's a yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Great job. Right. Is that yeah. Awesome. All right.
So
Okay.
I have a question about,
Mhm.
I'm a little confused. Amanu and wa amilu. Wow is the doer here.
Yeah.
Because it's a past tense, so it must be then home.
So no, it's a home conjugation, but the doer is the waw.
Doer is the wow.
And the
Okay.
same thing for the mudari. يدرسون عمل يعملون. That's also that waw is the doer.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm. Yes, Zahira.
For alaysa Allahu, is that mubtada and khabar?
Yeah, that's a good question. So laysa is like kana, so it's technically a past tense verb, and it's a negation. And so Allah, if it's a past tense verb and we consider it that way, then Allah's my doer. And so it's technically
Okay.
saying, is Allah not the most just of the judges, right? Of those that have to be just to do just things, right?
Okay.
Yeah. But laysa is special. Like kana, it falls under the special category that you'll cover. Gosh, I think it's level 2, but it may be later. But from what I recall, I think it is level 2. All right. Awesome, alhamdulillah. So today's lesson on for review is pretty straightforward. It's just talking about sun and moon letters. Could someone tell me what sun and moon letters are? Just anyone who'd like to volunteer. Go ahead, Idam.
So sun and moon letters are when they are connected with alif in the beginning. We does not make we just like what teen. So it
Good.
doesn't make the al sound. It al
Good.
teen. It says
Right.
at. And the moon letters are the one that makes al and then make the sound like in the surah al balad. So haz al balad. So he have the lam sound
Mhm.
and then he's
Yeah, excellent. It's basically whether or not we pronounce the lam in el, which is the article the that we put at the beginning of a word, like al huruf ash-shamsiyya, the ha in al huruf is qamari because I pronounce the lam al huruf, whereas the sheen is shamsi because I don't say al shams, I say ash-shams. I skip over my lam, right? Awesome. And so these are basically, we should know these by now. We're not going to really go into where all the letters are in in Tajweed because we'll cover this next semester, inshallah. But the pattern is that most of the sun and moon letters articulated, excuse me, most of the sun letters end up, it's where the tongue ends up touching the top of the mouth. So Ar-Rahman, An-Noon, right? Alladhi, well, alladhi doesn't really, well, the lam you already have a shadda anyway. Ad-Deen, right? Ad-Deen. Al-Zahir, right? As-Seen, right? All it's mostly these letters that have to do with the tongue touching somewhere. And it's because you can't jump from lam to the ra, like al-ra. It's just a lot of work on the tongue. It's like doing tongue cartwheels, which you guys will learn more about in Tajweed, inshallah, which will be a lot of fun. Okay, so the highlighted letters are qamari, right? These are all the ones that are around here. Everything else, if you notice that is touched by the sun, by the tongue, is shamsi, right? So these what we have in this category. The dad, ra, nun, lam, ta, the sheen as well. Allah, that, all those. Um, right. Why, as it says, the letters are on or near the tongue are hard to pronounce immediately after a lam with sukoon. As a result, the lam is just assimilated into the next letter. And think about it. You just literally you're jumping from the lam, which is right here on your tongue. You're jumping from here to here and then back and then here and back. It's just a lot of work for your tongue and it can get exhausting. And so it's really there to help facilitate pronunciation, this specific rule. Okay, alhamdulillah. We're going to go ahead and skip the activity and jump straight to our um, text for today. Alhamdulillah. We're going over the last bit of a portion of Surah Al-Anbiya. It's, I believe, like 10 or 15 verses. And this is kind of a summary of what we've covered with the story of Ibrahim, which is why we are actually covering these sections. So what we'll do is we'll just have people kind of breaking down as much as they can, and we'll go ahead and get through them, inshallah. So I believe we ended at Shazia, if that's correct. Let's go ahead and take Zahira. Could you start with verse number 1? Oh, no, it's not verse 1, it's verse 52. If you can go ahead and get us started there.
Sure. So, إذ قال لأبيه.
Yep.
So إذ قال this would actually, I don't think you count the id, so it would actually be a jumla fa'liya.
Good, yeah, good. Because it just means when.
And so then qala is a past tense verb, and the doer would be hiya.
Oh, it's hua
I
technically,
mean,
right? Like when
hua,
he said,
sorry.
right? Yeah.
Yes, hua. Li abihi would be this would be a prepositional phrase.
Good.
Um,
And abihi. It's also
and
an
sorry, go ahead.
there's an idafa there. Abi his father.
Right. Okay, yes, right. Exactly. Yeah. And then wa qawmihi would also be a prepositional phrase and also an idafa.
Yeah, awesome.
And
Very
then
good.
ma hadihil tamathilu that would be tamathilu would be so that's a pointing noun.
This yeah, good. But the mat is actually asking what? Like, what are these?
Okay, what are these? And then
statues, right?
and then allati is like also referring to the samalithilu.
Yeah, it's like a sifa for tamathil. It's like saying the statues which.
Okay. So then tamathil would kind of act as your mosuf then, I would imagine.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit, yeah. It's kind of like that, yeah.
Okay. And then antum laha akifun. I think akifun is a verb.
Akifun is actually it's like kafirun. It's the same thing.
Oh, okay, so it's like a verbal noun.
Yeah, it's a noun. It's a noun on the ism fa'al pattern, which indicates a type of action, but the priority is that it's a noun. It's not an explicit verb, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So remember, sentences after allati, like relative pronouns like this, are usually full sentences. So antum laha akifun is a full sentence.
Okay, so the antum would be the mubtada and
Awesome.
the akifun would be the khabar.
Good, awesome. And what would be the next the laha? What's that?
I'm not sure.
It's just jar wa majrur, right?
Oh, jar
Laha,
majrur. Okay.
right? Awesome. Thank you. I think next we have Isa.
Okay. قالوا وجدنا آباءنا لها عابدين. So this is a jumla fi'liya. They said, the doer is the wow.
Nice. Okay.
And then wajadna is also a past tense verb.
Nice. Where's my doer?
The doer is the na.
Awesome, yeah.
And then aba'ana is a idafa.
Okay. What else is my mudaf though? Remember, mudaf has more than one role.
It is the maf'ul bi for wajadna.
Awesome, excellent. Because we see that fatha on aba'a. Awesome.
Laha is jar majrur.
Awesome.
And abidina is an ism, and is it also a maf'ul bi for wajadna?
Yeah, that's good. So wajada is one of those verbs that could take two maf'ul bihis. It's like saying we found our fathers worshippers for them, of them, literally, right? Not literally, but it's referring to the idols, right? Awesome. Excellent. All right. Next we have, I think it's Asif, is that correct? Yes. Okay, Asif is not available at the moment. Let's go ahead and take Asma.
Okay, قال is a فعل ماضي. And then I'm not sure what laqad is.
Yeah, so la just means like certainly. It's like a type of emphasis. Qad is also a type of emphasis that comes with the past tense. So it's like definitely, certainly, kuntum antum.
And then kuntum, is that a version of kana?
It is. It's kana in the past tense. Like قلتم for قال. قال أنا قلت أنتم قلتم كان أنا كنت أنتم كنتم. Yeah, so it's past tense, yes.
And
So
then
where's my doer for kuntum?
kuntum, it's the tum.
Yep, good. Awesome.
And then antum, is that like the start of a jumla ismiya?
Not exactly. So
Kuntum,
sometimes, so you see how it's just repeating the fa'il? It's actually
yeah.
emphatic. It's a type of emphasis.
Okay.
And this is what's cool. You're now seeing layers of emphasis, so we'll just make it pink for now. But this is the emphasis. We already have, and we already know it's antum because of the conjugation, but then we say kuntum antum wa aba'ukum. So why is it aba'ukum with the dhamma?
Because it's the khabar?
Now remember, we were dealing
Or
with kana and its fa'il, right? It has a fa'il.
oh, it's the
It's actually, it's also
oh,
following
it's
our fa'il.
the fa'al.
It's another fa'il. Remember, the first one is tum, which is, right, the
Yeah.
conjugation for antum. And then aba'ukum is the second one. Like, not just you all, but you all and your fathers, right?
Mm.
Okay, what else is aba'ukum? What else? What other construct is it?
So that's also an idafa.
Awesome, okay.
And then yeah, and so the abba'u is the mudaf and the kum is the mudaf ilayhi.
Nice.
And the dalalin is a jar or majrur.
Yep, and what else?
And so dalalin is the ism majrur, and then dalalin mubinin is a sifa mawsuf.
Awesome. Yeah, here we have a sifa mawsuf interacting inside of a, like with a, ism majrur. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. I think next we have Bilal. Yes, Shazi, you have a quick question?
Yes, I'm still confused about this. Kuntum antum wa abaukum. So there are too many files here.
There's just two. There's just two. It's tum and there's aba'u. And you can
But
have
the
shuf.
antum is also the file, right?
So I said antum is emphasis. Antum is specifically there for emphasis. Yeah.
Um, but there is no maful bees here.
No.
About
No, there's no maf'ul bihi here. Because kana, yeah, go ahead.
so aba'akum is not a
It's
maful bi.
aba'ukum with a dhamma. It's a dhamma here. You see that?
What role does that play?
That's telling me that it's also a fa'il. That's why there's two fa'ils. Tum and aba'ukum.
This u also tells it's a file. Okay. And
Yeah.
and this can take two files also or more
So
than
the reason it's taking two is because we have a waw of ataf, right? The conjunction allows me to take more than one of anything, right? Because I'm just saying and
Right.
this and that, right? So aba'ukum is an idafa that's aba'u plus kum. But remember the mudaf, which is aba here, has more than one role. It cannot just be a mudaf. It has to be something else as well. That dhamma is giving me a hint that it's also a fa'il.
I see.
Yeah.
But the emphasis is also in laqad.
Exactly. There's a lot of emphasis. Good. That's a great observation. Laqad and antum. It's two emphasis in one ayah. So now think about the verse when we recite it. قال لقد كنتم أنتم وآباؤكم في ضلال مبين. Right? So when you hear the verse now, you know that there are two parts in there that are actually emphatic. So you have to understand, like, what is that doing to the effect and the impact the verse has on the audience. And now we're not talking about ourselves or people that don't know Arabic. We're talking about the Arabs that knew Fusha, they knew Quranic Arabic very well, right? And so if you can, they could like feel the emphasis almost, you know, to the point where I believe there were verses that were revealed that when even the kuffar heard the verse, they actually fell into sujood even though they didn't believe, like their bodies physically did it. And there's at least one verse where that happens, and I don't know which one it is, but that's what this
Yeah,
emphasis
right.
does to the impact or the how you really interact with the language. And we're learning it very scientifically in a way, but it's to eventually get at something similar to that. Hopefully, one day, inshallah, after a lot of study. Yeah.
Inshallah.
hmm
Thank you.
All right. Good questions. Okay. All right. So we had Bilal. I think that's where we are, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
قالوا أجئتنا بالحق أم أنت من اللاعبين. So
Mhm.
قالوا It's gonna be ism. I mean, it's gonna be a jumla فعلية.
Nice.
Alu is
Uh-huh.
past tense verb.
Yep.
The fa'il is the wow.
Awesome.
جئتنا, that's that's a present tense fa'il.
Yeah,
So
so is it present?
or
So jitta, ignore the hamza because it's for a question. Saying, did you all come? Or excuse me, did we come? Excuse me.
yeah,
Excuse me. It's not have we come. It's a jittana. So jitta is my verb.
is the fa'il, yeah.
So it's like darasta, jitta, dhahabta, qulta, right? So what is this being conjugated for?
It's the past tense.
Good, but what pronoun?
For huwa, no, anta.
Good, enta. So saying the doer is enta is technically that ta, which is representing enta, right?
And then
And
the
then what's
maf'ul
the
bi is
na?
the
Yeah.
maf'ul bi is the na.
Yeah, good. So it's saying, did you come to us?
And then بالحق is prepositional
Nice,
phrase.
okay.
أنت من اللاعبين. So من اللاعبين is also another prepositional.
Nice, awesome. And then everything that comes after M is actually a brand new sentence. Or another sentence. What kind of sentence is this?
اسمية
Yeah, good. Where's my mubtada in khabar?
would be أنت and then لاعبين.
Remember, what kinds, how many types of khabar can we have? We can have a khabar that's a ism, a khabar that's a prepositional phrase, or a khabar that's another sentence, right? So what do we have here?
Okay. من اللاعبين.
Yeah, the prepositional phrase is my khabar. Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, great job. Okay, let's go to the next section. Oh, excuse me. Okay, Bismillah. I think after Bilal, we had Bushra. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So the next one, قال بل ربكم رب السماوات. So
Mhm.
it's starting with it's a jumla fi'liya. قال. So it's referring back to so it's conjugated for huwa and probably for Prophet Ibrahim.
Yeah.
Isa.
Yeah, most likely contextually, yes. I think so.
And then bal it's for rather.
Yeah, it's a type of conjunction actually, which we'll cover, I think, in level 2. But now after bel, we have a normal a sentence, right?
It's a nominal starting, yeah.
Good.
So that's idafa.
Good. It is an idafa. So remember my mudaf. It has 2 roles. What's the other role of my mudaf here?
Rabbu is mubtada.
Awesome. Yeah, great.
So your Lord, Rabbu samawati. So he's the Lord of heavens and earth.
Good.
Samawat and earth. الذي اسم موصول.
Good. It is ism mawsul, yeah. And it's actually, that's going to be a sifa for Rab.
The
For
Rab.
Rabb samawat.
Yeah, so it's pointing back to the Rab. فطرهن. So it's a creator conjugated for hunna. فطرة. No, it's a fatora separate and then
Thank
hunna.
you. Yeah, good. Good.
Fatora past tense
Yep. Good.
verb.
Good.
Hunna is وأنا على ذلك.
It's going to be what? Remember, it's an attached pronoun that's coming immediately after my verb conjugation. And my verb conjugation, where's my doer? What is my doer actually? فطر, ذهب, درس, كتب.
Huwa, that
It's
would be
huwa.
for huwa.
Referring to alladhi, which goes
Yeah.
back to Rabb, right? Awesome.
Going to
And then the
Rab.
hunna then is an attached pronoun coming with my verb. What would it be then grammatically?
مفعول به.
Excellent, right?
وأنا
Mm-hmm.
وأنا على ذلك من الشاهدين.
Mm-hmm. So
Who
now wow is
them?
a new sentence, right?
Yeah, so we are saying he's the Rab of
The
heavens and earth. Who
Good. So
created them?
here my khabar is actually the second rabbu. This is my khabar. Rabbukum, your Lord is the Lord of this heaven and the earth. And this is idafa, right?
Yeah, Rabbu Samawati is the idafa.
Yeah, good.
And
But
then
Rab in Rabbu Samawat is also another role. It's going to be also khabar.
which is going for the, yeah, so Mubtada was Rabbukum, and then Rabbu is the khabar, wal earth. Who is فطرهن وأنا على ذلكم من الشاهدين. And then it's saying, I am among the witnesses.
Yeah. So what kind of sentence is if I start with أنا?
It's a اسم
اسمية.
proper
Good.
sentence. اسمية.
Yep.
Yeah.
So where's my
اسمية.
مبتدأ and where's my خبر?
أنا is مبتدأ.
Okay, good.
And then the whole phrase is the khabar.
Yeah, so here, min shahidin is actually the jar majrur, that's the khabar. Because this is the most important information from here. It's not that I'm from among them, it's that I'm from the shahidin, right? That's more of my predicate. It wouldn't just be I'm from among them, right? Ana ala dhalikum, like from among them or of those, right? But what about that? I need the information about what am I saying about ana? That I am from those that testify or from the witnesses, something like that. So that'll be our khabar. ذلك yeah. على ذلكم is just a jar majrur and ذلكم is also a إضافة, right?
ذلكم, yes. Pointing. ذلك.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, questions. I think Aram, you have your hand raised.
Yes. So for Rabbus Samawati wal Ard, is the Idafa is Rabbus Samawati or is it also wal Ard also part of Idafa?
Yeah, that's a good question. The wal ard is a conjunction, so it's following the mudaf ilayhi. So it's like a second mudaf ilayhi.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for when we for the second part when ana is the mubtada and the khabar is min ash-shahidin or is it
Yeah.
ala zalikum?
The khabar is gonna be min ash-shahidin. Yeah.
And why it's not like how do we know that it's ala zalikum is not khabar? How can
Yeah,
we
that's
like
a good question. It's mostly like context, but I'm also looking at like what the tafsirs are saying. So, yeah.
because
Okay.
sometimes when you don't know the meaning or something like and you are breaking down like we did like prepositional phrase is also a khabar.
Yeah.
So
I mean, for now, don't worry about it too much because it is a Quran verse, and like you're not expected to know all this. You can try, and you could say I am of those from among those, but it's just not clear. Like among what about those, right? Who are those? Those who testify, right? So the notion of a khabar is that it gives information that clarifies its relationship to the subject, which is the mubtada. So the khabar should be able to like, there's a sense of completion after I hear the khabar. So if I were to say, and I am from among those, I don't know who those are. Even from the context of what came before, there's not much information. But when I hear min ash-shahidin, then it's a lot more clear. Does that make sense?
kind of, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, it's not something that is like probably too clear cut for you guys at this point, but it just goes back to if you have to really think about what a khabar is and how it relates to a mubtada. Right? Because not if I have multiple prepositional phrases, not any prepositional phrase could be the khabar unless it makes sense. But some might say it could be ala dhalikum. What I was seeing and how I'm understanding it, that doesn't seem to be the case, but there could be another possibility. I'm not going to say there isn't. Yes, Shazia, go ahead.
So my question is very similar to Khalil, what he has asked, and what Iram was saying. So if we have established that the khabar has to complete the meaning, min shahideen. So in the earlier part of the
Sorry,
ayah,
can you give me 1 second? I just want to read Khalil's question because I didn't see it earlier. So give me 1 sec. Is Rab both khabar to Rabbukum? And then the mubtada to the samawati? Okay, so Khalil, your question is a little unclear to me because which Rab are you talking about? Are you talking about the first one or the second one?
yes, the first one, the Rabbu after
They're
the
both okay.
Rabbukum. So
Okay,
if
let me just hold
Rab
on
in
1 second.
Rabbukum is
Is it the
mubtada.
one I'm circling that I have a line over in pink? Is that the one we're talking
Yeah,
about?
correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
So So this is a khabar we
Yeah.
established in the beginning that it is a khabar to the Rabb of Rabbukum.
Yes.
But isn't that the khabar is the whole sentence? Rabbus samawati wal ard.
So that's not a
Just second
sentence. That's
thought.
just an idafa, right? Rabbu samawati is an idafa. So when we
Yes, it
say,
is
mhm.
okay. Because it's an idafa, that's why it cannot be a khabar.
So
But idafa
remember,
can be a khabar too, right?
when we have an idafa, there are two parts. I think we've said this a number of times in class now. There are two parts. There's a mudaf and a mudaf ilayhi. The mudaf ilayhi is always, always, always jar. It never changes. So where are my mudaf ilayhis in Rabbu samawati wal ard?
The ard and the samawati are both the
Good.
mudaf alayhis, right?
Good. So, okay, good. So we're gonna knock that out. We're not worrying about those anymore, right? The mudaf, now we want to really pay attention to this. The mudaf, which is the rub, right? It's rub here. It's the first word in the idafa. It has more than one role. It's not just a mudaf. It has to be something else as well. It has to be a mubtada or a khabar or a maf'ul bihi or a fa'il or a ism majroor, right? So what would it be here?
So it's a khabar of Rabbukum, Rabb.
It's the khabar
Rabbu
of
of the kum.
rabbukum. Yeah.
Yes. Of that
Okay.
Rabbu, it's this Rabbu is the khabar of that mudaf,
And
correct?
what's the mudaf?
So the Rabbukum is the mudaf also. It's a zafa, right? It's a
Yes. So
kum
this
is the
rabbukum is also an idafa. Yes. The
yes.
whole
And
construct. Mhm.
over there, the Rabbukum idafa, it's a mudaf. The Rabbu over there is a mudaf,
Yes, it
whereas
is.
the
Yeah.
Rabbu over here is a khabar.
No, no, they're both mudaf. They're both mudaf because they're both idafas, right? So they both have a mudaf. Every idafa must have a mudaf. It can't not have a mudaf. This rab and this one both have a mudaf. This is mudaf. This is also mudaf, right?
Correct. But one
Now,
is a mubtada and the other is khabar.
yeah, so this mudaf is also a mubtada and this mudaf is also a khabar. You see?
Okay.
But they're
If
both mudaf. That's just how it relates to the idafa, right?
no,
But how,
what we are I'm little confused on this is it is khabar for sure for this mubtada, but it is also a mubtada of its own mudaf.
it is not a mubtada of its own mudaf. It is, remember, so we're confusing the word mubtada and mudaf. Mudaf is in an idafa. Every idafa has a mudaf. Every idafa does not have a mubtada, right?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay. Yep. Now it makes sense. So
Okay.
every idafa does not have a mubtada.
No, some idafa, not most of them don't, unless the mudaf is a mubtada, which is what we have in this example, right?
Okay. Thank
Right
you.
here, the mudaf is also a mubtada, but here the mudaf is also a khabar. And that's okay, because remember, the mudaf can be one of the five potential isms that we know, right? One of the potential ism roles.
Got it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's a good question because you're trying to clarify. Yeah, Khalid, does that also answer your question? Okay. Okay. Mike, your question is Bala negation. It's not like there's some it's saying rather in the sense of what comes before it, it's like negating it as well, in a sense. That's why the no's there in parentheticals. Yeah. It's like creating an alternative that is uh removing from the first option. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm unsure of where we ended just because oh, we're over time anyway. Okay, let's see if I can get through the rest of these kind of quickly. But I do think that you won't be tested on all of these verses from what I know. So it's not too much of a concern. We'll see if we can kind of get through as much of them. I think there's like at least three other slides, so it's quite a bit. So we have وَتَاللَّهِ لَأَكِيدَنَّ أَصْنَامَكُمْ بَعْدَ أَن تُوَلُّوا مُدْبِرِينَ. Okay. So this is 57. Tallahi is a qasam, which is why it has this tallahi. It's like wallahi, tallahi. La akidana, the lam is tawkid, it's for emphasis. Akidana, this is fi'l mudari, okay? And the noon is for emphasis. Asnamakum, right? So akida is to plan. Asnamakum is a maf'ul bihi, and it's also an idafa. Ba'da an, so ba'da is technically it's a dharf, right? It indicates after, it means after, it's indicating time. An tuwallu. So an is just we're gonna ignore that for now. Tuwallu is a fi'l madi. Um it's technically passive, I believe, but we haven't discussed that. Well, the wow is my fa'il, mudbirin. Mudbirin is an ism technically. Um Here I want to also say that it is something we haven't covered yet. It's what we call hal. It's like their state that they've gone away. Okay. فجعلهم جذاذا إلا كبيرا لهم لعلهم إليه يرجعون. فجعلهم جعل is past tense verb. The doer is huwa. The fa is just saying so, right? Hum is the maf'ul bihi. That's the first maf'ul bihi. The جذاذا would be the second maf'ul bihi. And then we have illa, we're going to ignore for now. It means except, right? Except for the biggest from among them, jar majrud. لعلهم, la'alla, special construct. And so we'll ignore it for now. إليه jar majrud يرجعون فعل مضارع. And the doer is the wow. Okay. Bismillah. Sorry, just okay. قالوا من فعل هذا بآلهتنا إنه لمن الظالمين. So we have قالوا is past tense verb. Man is a who has done this? It's a question here. It means whoever. It's a ism mawsul. Fa'ala is a past tense. Okay, fa'ala is a past tense verb. هذا is the مفعول به. بآلهتنا is a jar majrur and an idafa. إنه, we're gonna skip inna. لمن من الظالمين is the jar majrur. The la is kind of emphatic here. It's because inna is emphatic and so is the lam. So it's saying, I'll just leave the translation since we have it up already. Let's see. من فعل هذا. Yes. Okay. Bismillah. Then we have قالوا سمعنا فتى. So then they say, right, past tense, the doer as well. سمعنا, we heard, past tense, the doer is the na. فتى is a مفعول به, like we heard a young man. يذكرهم, they call him or they mention him as in his name. Excuse me, we heard a young man. What did the young man do? He mentioned them. The hum is referring to the idols. يذكر is فعل مضارع. The hum is a مفعول به. يقال is a present tense verb, but it's passive, which we haven't covered yet. We'll cover it next in level 1A, or excuse me, in level 2A. Lahu is a jar majrud. Ibrahim is like my doer for yuqal. And then again, qalu, this is pretty straightforward by now. Fatu, so this is the amir, like then, this is fa plus utu. Okay, the fa is separate. It's like then bring him. Bihi, like then bring him, like bring him. Bihi, that together it's like saying bring him. Ala a'yunin nas, jar majrud plus idafa, right? Upon the eyes of the people, لعلهم will skip again, so that they, the people, may testify. This is kind of like a mubtada and khabar, but this is a fi'l mudari. قالوا أأنت, this is a question, right? أنت is a mubtada. The jumla فعلية is my khabar. Did you do this? Past tense verb. هذا أنت أنت فعلت هذا. فعلت هذا is مفعول به. بآلهتنا جار مجرور إضافة. Oh, Ibrahim, that's gonna be a excuse me. It's a calling out, which we haven't covered. قال بل, rather. فعله, past tense verb. It, like the one that did it was the largest. This is a doer and it's an
Quick
idafa.
question.
Yes.
Quick question. Why there's a mud on qalu?
It's because of a tajweed rule. It's
I
because
see.
you have a long vowel plus a hamza. Yeah. You'll learn about it in 1C, inshallah. كبيرهم جار مجرور. هذا is a مفعول به. فاسألوا, then it's saying ask him, which is it's like a command. And then this is a مفعول به. إن كانوا ينطقون, if they, this is kind of past tense. The واو is my فاعل. ينطقون is فعل مضارع. If they're able to speak, right? Okay. Just do this last one. Okay, we have أف لكم. Well, it's just ignore أف for now because it'll be a bit of an explanation. Okay. لكم الجار مجرور ولما تعبدون من دون الله. So here تعبدون is فعل مضارع. من دون الله جار مجرور وإن إضافة. دون الله is an إضافة construct. أفلا تعقلون. and then the la is a negation. Um, so it's saying uf to you and to what? This lam, this is repeated. Uf to you and to what? This is a ism mawsul, right? To what you all worship. That is other than Allah, don't you all think, right? قالوا حرقوه. So they said, Madi, the doer is my wow. حرقوه is a amr for form 2, which we cover in level 2. The doer is the wow. The ha is the maf'ul bihi. وانصروا آلهتكم. Let's see, burn him, and wansuru is like I guess here support, but it's the amar the wow here. Technically, yeah, okay, we'll just leave it. لهتكم is مفعول به and it's إضافة إن كنتم فاعلون. So فاعلين, excuse me. This is kana, this is the fa'il for kana, and فاعلين is my مفعول به for kana. قلنا يا نارو, so this is قلنا is past tense, and that is my doer. يا نارو, oh fire, this is this speaking out. Kuni, be, this is Amr, be what? Barudan, which is maf'ul bihi for kana, wa salaman, and safe upon Ibrahim, jar majrur. Okay, let's see. Any other questions? I want to apologize about the delay. Inshallah, it was beneficial for everyone. They're good questions you guys are asking, so I do appreciate them. I think, Shazay, some of your questions were really poignant, like especially the one about the Rabs, because it can be confusing. I understand that. But for now, okay, so inshallah, that's the last lesson. We're gonna go ahead and we'll end here. I'll share the link for the quiz. And what we can do is next class, we will have our review session. So hopefully we can, parse things a little bit more. We'll discuss the exam and things of that sort. So you guys are all ready to go for your final, inshallah. So what I'll do is put this in the chat and we can continue next week, inshallah. So I'll see you guys for our last live session for 1B. Jazakallah khair everyone for sticking around and for participating and asking questions. May Allah grant you all tawfiq on your studies. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum.